What's new is the place is still a mess down there. It's you know, we just they just okayed $1 trillion more in $1 trillion more borrowing, and we failed to do anything to address the underlying problem, which is unfortunate. It really is. I'm hopeful that this year, I just spoke to the chamber group down in Lima, I'm hopeful this year we can begin to, the party I belong to, begin to lay out a vision for where we would be different. Instead of just saying, okay, we don't like Obamacare, we don't like the policies of the president. Everyone knows that, and everyone knows they aren't working. So let's talk about what we would do, frankly. There's something I think we can even get bipartisan agreement, but lay out a vision for where we want to take the country. And if in fact the American people say we're going to give you those 6 seats in the Senate and change the makeup of the United States Senate and put Republicans back in charge, then we should have laid out what we will do, the types of legislation we'll put on the president's desk, and say to the president, okay, here's what the House and Senate think. Americans elected us too. Are you going to you're going to sign it? Or are you going to veto it? So. And I think there are kind of 5 broad areas. Our fix to health care, what we would do to make the tax code actually work better and be more conducive to job creation, how we would help the poor, and then the last 2 would be energy. What we would do in not just Keystone, but what we would do in an energy policy that makes sense. And finally, the one I referenced a little bit earlier, this privacy issue. Those are the 5 big areas. And the last one's the one I think you could actually potentially get across the finish line.
Because they're happy with the FISA court.
Well, I mean, think about this. A member of Congress can't even go watch what happens in a FISA court. Do you think the founders in there, when they laid out the government, would say it's okay for the legislative branch, particularly, just take a House member. Remember, the House of Representatives, where all the spending and taxing has to start, that's a body close to the people, that's why they stand for election every 2 years. Do you think they would have been comfortable with saying a member of the House of Representatives cannot sit in on a FISA court proceeding, what the judicial branch is up to? My guess is Abe Madison and those guys would have said, what, are you crazy? And yet we have that. So there's got to be a way that you can understand, and where we recognize that the terrorist threat is serious. And look, this is, again, fundamental function of the federal government's national security. So you got to understand that. But do it in a way that respects the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment in the Constitution. I'm hopeful this is one area where the American people can see Republicans and Democrats, Chris Van Hollen, Jim Jordan, work together to do something that they care about.
Program.
Where that winds up is somewhat of a guess right now. I spoke with, it's funny you bring this up, the whole flood insurance issue. I spoke with Jeb Henschling, who's chairman of the Financial Services Committee. They're dealing with some big insurance issues. They got the flood insurance issue. They got TRIA, which is the Terrorism Risk Insurance Agency program, all coming up for reauthorization. It's going to happen. Something's going to happen on those 2 before the end of the year. How and what it is, it's a guess right now.
What's your opinion?
We will see. Look, my position is I want to move to as much a market approach as we can, whether it's insurance, terrorism insurance, flood insurance, or whether it's the Farm Bill. We want, but there's sometimes it's a gradual process. So we will see. I think that's the chairman's focus too. He wants to get as close to a market as he can, but he understands you might not be able to get there overnight. I hope what we do, as I said earlier, is what I want to do is show how we'll fix healthcare. Here's our fix to healthcare. Here's how we would do it. We know Obamacare doesn't work.
So it's a different strategy. It's a different look for you guys.
Yeah, we know. Everyone knows Obamacare is a problem. It's not working. So let's show how we would do it. And forget Obamacare. Here's the right way to do it. And that's what I hope we do. To Eric, to the leader's credit, the Georgia leader Cantor announced 3 weeks ago that we are going to bring forward our plan for health care. I want to not only bring it forward and debate, I want to vote on it. I want to pass it. Say, here, let's show the American people what we're for. And I hope we do that on a host of things.